Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me on Berets, and today we're going to be talking about the week that Epic 7 has had, as well as a really big letter that just came out from Smilegate CEO. And you know that when a letter drops from a CEO about the game, it is probably pretty big. So this week we saw a Smilegate press conference in Korea where a whole bunch of Korean players got together with Smilegate representatives and devs and basically hashed out, and that's a very nice way of saying that basically the Koreans kind of just screamed at the devs for a while. The devs apologized, and out of it we got some very nice compensation. At this point there are tons of people re-rolling in Epic 7 because currently you can start with at least 2 guaranteed 5 stars and get another 5-star probably from your selective summon. So for people who are interested in picking up Epic 7, now's a really good time to do it, as you can potentially get, the characters that you want so long as you just keep re-rolling. And that is pretty cool for anybody out there. And all of that was potentially really good until a letter that I saw tonight. And for everybody who's really excited about it, you might be thinking just a little too short term. So first of all, I would say, I wouldn't get necessarily angry with me until the end of the video, and then you can write your angry comments about how I'm wrong about every little thing, and I will not read it and not overly care, but there you go. Anyway, let's talk about this because it was an apology letter from the CEO. And the short notes of it was basically that they're looking to, and the translation may or may not be 100% correct, but the note basically kind of indicated a couple of things. First of all, a pity summon on every banner, nerfing Moonlights that are considered broken, and Moonlight units from the Covenant system. All three of these changes are things that, well, for any free-to-player and anybody who has been struggling to get, the unit of their choice, this will seem pretty damn good. Also for people who have bought Mystic Summons in the past, anybody who's spent a ton of money on a banner and not gotten the character that they wanted, this will obviously seem very nice. Even for someone like me, I went pretty hard on Tamarine and got basically nothing to show from it except her artifact. And while that's not necessarily bad, obviously the worst outcome you can get is just not getting 5 stars. I'm more than a little concerned about this. For one thing, this is the CEO essentially caving into a bunch of whiny players. And yes, I do mean that. First, there should be a general rule going forward in every gacha community of a few things to understand. One, never put more money into this game than you are willing to lose. Two, never put more money than you can afford. And if you do put more money into than you can afford, really, tough shit. That's your fault. Just kind of live up to your own goddamn decisions for once maybe in your life. And yeah, that does seem kind of harsh, but I assume most of the people playing who have access to credit cards are what we would in society consider adults. And, part of being an adult is saying, well, I mean, I spent $70 on this game, and I could have spent it other places, but I chose to spend it on this game. I got nothing. I understood the consequences of my actions, and that is probably asking too much of a lot of the community. And third thing, you should never play a gacha if you are not okay with not having thing X or thing Y or thing Z or a whole bunch of thing X, Z, and Y. Because a gacha game is based on, RNG, and RNG getting characters, RNG getting weapons, whatever your type of gacha game is. That is essentially the major thing behind it, is that you will get some stuff, you will not get other stuff, and that does make it special. I am a big believer in a bit of a kind of a psychological idea that you do need bad things to make the good things so much better, and there is a fine line between, too negative and too positive. The negative idea is you just never get it, and the rates are way too low, and it's just more frustrating than fun. And I'm just going to put this as an example, and any of you can go try this and it is a specific fight in Final Fantasy IX against a giant green, I think it's like Hildegard's or something. It's in Disc 2 of Final Fantasy IX, and it has a pretty rare flute for one of the characters, and you can steal it, but at that point in the game, stealing it is can be an exercise in literally hours of not getting it, and that is a definite example of, you know, a bad experience, a very bad experience. However, there are the polar opposites, the idea of too much of a good thing, where if you just always get the thing you're looking for, things would be kind of boring. There's just no challenge in anything where it's just handed to you. And if you are just looking for that experience, well, I guess that's the life you want to live. It probably doesn't feel super rewarding, but hey, people's happiness is different. But what does this have to do with any of these things? Well, that's kind of the thing. I I can acknowledge the very good things about these changes to Epic 7. For one thing, getting gold transit stones is slow, and Moonlight characters are very powerful. They are kind of designed that way because they are hard to get and harder to get. And if you do get them, I mean, obviously it's still RNG, but there is something special about Moonlights, for example, because in the Moonlight system, there are no artifacts. It is just characters, and they are a type of 2 characters that are not in the primary 3 elements. The primary 3 elements being, of course, fire, ice, and earth, which is in a kind of, balance system with each other, where Moonlights, light and dark, are less imbalances. They kind of only counter check each other and not overly well. I've seen this element system in other video games, like it's shown up in like Fire Emblem, which has the weapon triangle system and whatnot. And yeah, there's, I think, a few extra things that I'm forgetting about, mages and whatnot. Side, I guess we could equate that to light and dark, but Moonlight summons are in their own system, and that own system does make it, slightly easier to get them. So I want to talk about these 3 points. So let's talk about the pity summon on every banner. This is definitely a good thing. The rates in Epic 7 for characters are not good. A limited banner is much more appealing for people to pull, and the community has shown that kind of thing. Where, Dizzy is just such an incredibly popular character. She's a very powerful character, not for damage output, but for status effects and making content essentially easier in the game. So getting Dizzy is, a really nice thing for a lot of people. Looking at the hero rate here, 1.25% for a 5-star character, is pretty low. And so, yeah, a guarantee, a safety net after a while is something I think that is good in all games. I think it was good in Brave Exvius. I think it is good here too. My problem with a pity summon on every single banner is it essentially becomes a character checklist. Obviously great for whales, and potentially great for free-to-players too. However, I would say that it does detract a little bit from the point of characters who are very powerful and very rare, and characters that, just everybody is going to have from now on, kind of monotonizing the game. A complaint that the Epic 7 community has, and I think this is fair to bring up, is that a lot of people hate high-level arena because it is the exact same teams. How are those teams going to feel when everybody can access those characters? Arena might become incredibly homogenized. This game does not particularly lend itself well to allowing experimentation of characters and builds, because to unequip stuff you need to use gold, and gold is already a short supply resource. So yeah, I'm not overly crazy about the idea of it just being, well, you saved up 605 bookmarks, so you get this character, and then everybody has this character because word of mouth spreads so fast. Everybody knows that this is one of the most powerful characters, and then everyone just has it, copies the same thing, and the game becomes much more monotonized. The idea in the past was there was always this nice thing of being like, well, I only got 3-star characters, but people made 3-star characters work. The idea that this will just become a 5-star, only go for the most powerful characters, not or a character you like kind of thing, it's not bad per se, but it could become much more homogenized. And if other video game experiences have taught me anything, uh, the same experience over and over and over and over and over again becomes very tedious very fast. Arena has already had this problem here, but it's mostly stayed to incredibly high level. I don't like, I don't, personally, I'm not a big fan of the idea of pity summons on every banner, although it is certainly great for, when that character comes along that you really like, oh wow, Lilibet came out, and I just need this many summons to get her. That's really cool, that's really good. I don't think this will overly affect bottom lines because whales are just still going to be going for the imprints, which is just multiple copies of a character fused into a character. It's just, characters become a little bit more of a checklist and a little bit less special. And I know that is a hard thing to people to accept because, again, a lot of people who seem to play gotchas cannot cope with the idea that other people have thing X, I don't, I hate everybody else for having thing X, and you can go on to forums and whatnot and see the idea of people being like, oh, stop showing your rerolls. We get it. You have Tamarine. Shut up. Anyway. So yeah, while the pity summon is, a really nice thing on paper, especially for people who just want to get the character that they want, I will give you that 100%. I think that it will lead to a more homogenized experience in Epic 7, characters feeling generally less special, and it will become the age of imprints with whales, where they are just, it's just a checklist from now on. Nerfing Moonlights. This is something that, again, I think is, obviously, this is a thing where a lot of people are going to be strongly to one side or the other, depending on which characters you have and what kind of luck you've had. Obviously, my luck been pretty crazy. I made a video about it, even ended up on Reddit for a while. Uh, this, like uh, basically they are looking at nerfing what they consider broken characters, to which the definition then becomes, well, what's broken? Are they going to ruin a lot of characters that I really like and really like to use? Rule is a character that I really like. Domniel is a character I really like. And Karen's also another character I really like. Also Spectre Tenebria and Maid Chloe. Nerfing Moonlight characters, I can understand the point of it, because they can feel generally strong, but that was kind of the point of them. To get them out of the Moonlight summon, it was never a thing that you needed in the game. And people are kind of getting to the point in this game of just being like, damn, all I see are clears with Moonlight summons, because more people are starting to get Moonlights, and Moonlights are stronger, so of course people would use Moonlights. But the days of wonderfully using, 3-star characters and people really trying to get through challenges and whatnot with those kind of feel gone, to the point where, it's not even a discussion about, good 5-star characters in the red, green, blue spectrum. It's just characters in light and dark that seem to be the focus. And don't get me wrong, there are characters who need a strong balancing who are considered to be a problem. Rule might be a bit of a problem in Arena, even though I can don't really know where you fix her. Maybe defense, make her a little bit weaker, but then you're kind of just taking away something that was really nice about her, that she was a tanky healer. She has her weaknesses, not being able to heal multiple characters at a time. So, like, Ball and Cezanne and and Moonlight Aura is a combination that has gone on for far too long, and I feel far too strong. And a Vildred is also another problem in Arena, but is counterable with some other characters. It is a conversation that some people have very strong opinions about, because some people like Arena a lot and some people don't. So I hate the idea of this phantom nerf kind of thing. They have basically said, though, that people will who get nerfed Moonlight heroes, you'll get to choose another natural 5-star Moonlight hero you want instead of the nerfed one, and I assume you'll get your resources back because Smilegate is incredibly good about doing that. I mean, again, that's a very nice safety net. I really feel for Smilegate, who is just trying so hard to do right by everyone, and that is not what the community is, but we'll talk about the community at the end of this. And the last thing is Moonlight units coming or going into Covenant system, and this is probably the thing I hate the most. One, because the Covenant system is something that I kind of hate. While because the Covenant bookmark system is based around the idea of either artifacts or characters, and Moonlights felt really nice for having, of course, my dispatch missions come back. They're on the hour, I guess. I've been talking for an hour. Go away. Go fuck off. Moonlight's units being put in here is not the golden ticket that I think some people might naturally think it is, and it is definitely not something that I think we should be celebrating. For one thing, it will be much harder to get Moonlight characters because it is going to be in a much bigger pool of shit. There is already a ton of characters in here, and getting a specific 5-star, the rates are not really good at all, and you want to put more in here. What's also this means is that it's going to be even worse because the Moonlight characters are now going to be shared with artifacts. This also might have giant repercussions for the game itself. Are we going to see Moonlight artifacts now to balance out the sides? Are Moonlights themselves going to be considerably down-powered just to be put into the Covenant system? Are Moonlights still going to be extra rare in here? There are so many question marks, and I don't mean to fearmonger, but this is something that I don't think the community has really thought out, or at least the noisy part of the community that Smilegate's attention seems to be just focused on right now. This is a potentially really bad thing for a lot of reasons. This is already a place where there are so many characters in, and we are going to shove all of the Moonlights in here. This also could just mean that I really do think that there is no incentive anymore to power up Moonlights to make them special. And if that's the case, I guess fine, but again, you're homogenizing the experience. There isn't going to be that great satisfaction of getting a 4-star or 5-star Moonlight, because there are a lot of great 4-star Moonlights. It could mean that a lot more people are going to end up getting these characters. It could mean that they are not. I don't think that any of these suggestions are particularly the right direction the game should be going. Some of the problems that I think are naturally inherent to the game and would leave a lot of frustrations is a general upping of a lot of the rates in the game, particularly the summon rate. I don't think we really need these fixes to the summon system of Moonlights being placed in Covenant and well as a pity timer, so much as a higher rate for characters would be nice. 4 stars especially. But yeah, 5 stars too. And this could go for both summon pools. I think that would go a long way to alleviating it, rather than just putting a guarantee and, still making characters somewhat rare. Again, controversial maybe, but hey, I'm just throwing out ideas here. The other thing is just drop the prices of gold across the board in the game. The idea of gold as a resource that you have to spend on in this game is already stupid enough because of the equipment system, but come on, if you the free equip events can still happen and everything like that, but drop the cost of gold of a lot of stuff. It will make the game a lot better. Up the rates of, epic catalysts and everything like that. Not a ton, just enough to make a visible difference so that we don't have to spend hours and hours of farming. And interestingly enough, if there is more gold for people and there are more catalysts and more molas, people will try more experimentation in the game. If there is a higher summon rate, it will boost morale into summoning, or I guess maybe put an incredibly large pity summon or something, because this game I'm not going to say that this game does not need to make money. Those feel much like better solutions to the game to address a lot of the more bigger issues. I get that this game is supposed to be grindy. I get that seems to be the design philosophy of Korean gaming more so, but I really do think that this is not a good direction for the game, but more for the reason that Smilegate has really caved in the last week. I thought that the compensation was more than fair enough in terms of, waiting to see what hopefully, fixing the economy system a little bit and whatnot in this game would have gone probably a fair way into doing a lot for this game. But now Smilegate seems to have, just given in to the fans. And this is the problem that I have, because I've talked about this. There is a sect of people who will play and be happy. There is a sect of people who will not play and be fine. And there is a sect of people who will complain about the game and still play. And that is very much, I think, these people. They are, and obviously, yeah, not 100%, but I feel that a lot of the people would have just abandoned the game and shut up about it, because people who are, threatening to leave still want to stay. That is the thing about people. They are trying to get attention and get more free stuff and have, the focus be on them. They want to still play the game, because if people are just done with the thing, they do not fight. They do not go complain about it after. And as for people complaining about spending too much money on gachas or video gaming, yeah, tell me how that works. Tell me how that goes in the real world when, just complaining about shit. The entitlement might be really high or whatever, but I'm really worried about Smilegate changing the direction of this game because of overly high, and not even necessarily a high amount of complaints on the other servers, but just specifically the Korean server. Aside that, at this point, I don't know how much of its business it makes up, but I don't feel like it is enough to flip out necessarily this much. There needs to still be improvements in Epic 7. Gacha gaming goes a long way over time, gets improved and sometimes makes missteps, in some cases big missteps. But this is not necessarily the fix that I think the game needs, and more so I think the point that I want to raise is that these fixes, these improvements, might hurt the game more in the long run. And some people will not realize that, and may not realize that ever. Just, essentially get bored of the game and walk away. And that probably is more concerning than anything. Anyway, I'm tired of talking about Epic 7 and this overly giant pain in the butt week of watching the meltdowns on both sides. I really do think that Smilegate needs, and I'm sorry, Smilegate, I know you're trying to make us all happy. I know you guys are working really hard to try and make the community happy. But here's the thing. Smilegate, you are never, ever, ever going to appease the entire fan base. So grow a backbone and stand up for some things, and maybe fix the gold economy more than anything. Having to spend on gold in this game is kind of dumb. But that's just my 2 cents for whatever it's worth. So if you guys think these changes are great, well, guess what? They're probably happening anyway. But it'll be interesting to see the long time effects that this will have on the game, because nothing is 100% good, and this is definitely something I feel that is not 100% good, but we'll see. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.